Assalamualaikum. Hi, I am Muhammad Ariff bin Haidar, 261044. The first question: how can the majority shareholder shift wealth through accounting cost allocation and transfer pricing? In this case, I will highlight three key elements. First one is the absolute policy, the second one is the cost allocation, and the third one is the transfer pricing. The first one, the absolute performance policy. The performance evaluation is actually an absolute to the employees. This is because the performance is being evaluated to the production employees, but it is based on someone else working, which is in the sales department, which is these two departments is seen on themselves. Even though there are relationships, but in terms of performance evaluation, they cannot do that. This is because the output that the employees have is out of controls. Hence, it cannot be one of the criteria that should be taken into consideration for performance evaluation. This is because the management wants to have no financial benefit for them. For example, paying more salary or paying more business. As example, if the policy is not being done where the it needs to sell 25 at $25 for the export, and also the irregularity policy about the bottle expand, it actually can achieve the production employees actually can achieve the performance that have been stated in the months. For example, in 2009, their performance assessment, if these two policy is being cancelled, then it's actually entitled for bonus because they are below 43%, which they can achieve up to 37.36 cost over sales. And it is the same one with the 2010, where they also achieve the performance reassessment if these two policy is cancelled out, where they can actually achieve the bonus. So all in all, for the first key, uh, it is intended to ensure that the minority shareholder, which is the employees, is not getting a fair evaluation. The second one is about the accounting cost allocation. The company is actually creating a one company as a cost center where it is probably located at the location with a higher tax jurisdiction. This company will actually absorb all the costs from both segment, Jera Caribbean and also Caribbean Brews. So when it maximize it uh, cost, then the minority shareholders will not have uh, a control on whether they want to oppose the policy. Even though Caribbean Brewers is actually subsidiary of Jira International, but it doesn't have a full authorities on it because it's only have 75%. This will leads to a profit sharing if the Caribbean Brewers make a profit for the companies. So they want to make sure that the profit is not being shared by other minority shareholders. So they will make the Caribbean Brewers as the call center, while they have like a full 100% authority on the Jera Caribbeans, they will ensure that all the profit sharing is maximized. So they make an arrangements for the transfer pricings to ensure that these Jera Caribbeans that are located in location with no tax is actually being maximized in terms of the profit. The second question: given the wording in Figure 5 with respect to the taxation of related party transaction, to what extent is Caribbean Brewers vulnerable to tax reassessment? You may include an analysis of calculation here. So we can also actually see this from three things. We want to ensuring that a basis reason to go for tax reassessment is based on the risk-based approach. First, we're going to look into the tax term, make some analysis, and put some sample to do for the calculation. So we look at the tax term, where a resident corporation which is Caribbean based carries on business with a non-resident corporation which is Jara Caribbean, and by the reason of relationship which indicate that Caribbean Brewers and Jara Caribbean is related parties because it both subsidiary of Jara International. Between such corporation, the cost of business between them that has been so arranged. So arranged here is being implemented the policy that have been introduced by the management, that the business done by the residents produce less profit because there's a significant price that have been sold by Caribbean Brews to Jera Caribbean at 25. Then those which could be expected to arise from that business if such relationship had not existed, means that between these two party is 25, but between none of these two party is at $50. So inland revenue may determine in reasonable fashion whether any additional profits, which we will see later on, should be deemed to be accessible income for the resident corporation. So we will look about the this analysis. Caribbean Brewers and also the Jira Caribbean is actually related party transaction. So what we are trying to focus is about the Jira export, because this is the only transactions that are related between these two related parties. Okay, because we can see that Caribbean Brewers to Jira Caribbeans they actually sold for 25, but Jira Caribbean takes markup as much as like 25, uh, even though that Caribbean Brews is actually selling to the customers that Jira Caribbean's invoice. So it means like Jira Caribbean is acting as a middleman in this transaction. And as the tax audits only get raised on suspicious on the Jira exports, then we will analyze Jira exports. But we also take in consideration is on other trends, for example, Jira domestic, Tigo domestic, and also Tigo export. It surprisingly that trend in Jira export is actually increased from 2007 to 2010. They increased about 2064.64%. So it is something that we should go and make further analysis. Okay. So in the tax term, we have to look into the additional profits, and this is example in 2009. So there's a additional profit which is come from 25 products 825,000, and it become 26 to 5,000, and the recalculation of the sales will be going to 61.61300,000, and the production also will be less because the policy that have been implemented should be assessed to. So the production cost will be lower to 20,367, and this additional profit is amount 27,225,000, which is an increment of 346% from the previous profit. So it is a high probability that Caribbean Brews is exposed to the tax reassessment risk because 346% is such a high percentage. And even for the 2010, the increase is a lot more, up to 472%. So for my opinion, inland revenues will not let this case goes with these tactics. They will ensure that they can maximize the tax and collect the revenues. So for the conclusions, yes, the tax authority should have raised the inquiry because it fulfill what have been said in the figure 5, and the relationship also tell us that it happened the related party transaction, And our sample analysis also indicate that it's a high additional profits that should not, I think, be led by the inland revenue. The last question is a question 3. What are the implications of the composition of the board members to the reporting of the CFO, assuming majority of the board is made up of representative of majority shareholders? So I put three key issues, which are too much power, power imbalance, and also the financial pressures. The first one is too much power is I'm referring to Frederick, where it puts both the chairman and CEO. These two positions, if pushed by one person alone, not creating a check and balance towards the BOD. So Frederick at the moment puts lot of power on himself. The concentration of power is a lot to them. Even the recent Malaysian corporate code of governance saying that right now it should be separate between this chairman and COO. So this is one example that can be taken into consideration. And the second one is the bring power imbalance to the BOD. BOD should actually have the diverse background of person that actually being selected for the best interest of the company and its shareholders. It means that it should represent the majority and also the minority of the shareholders, because if a lot of people that are come from majority shareholders, then it should the board of directors should uh, perhaps have the bias towards the majority shareholders. So this create a power imbalance in BOD itself. Among others, if we can see, there's only five people in the BOD, and only one that represent the minority shareholders, which is the businessman. Another three is from the majority shareholders, and another one is from the political backgrounds. Even the recent Malaysia Corporate Code of Governance 2021 that have been revised, they not allows any political appointment in BOD to create not create a pressure on the BOD. Okay. And the third one to answer the question is actually will create the financial pressures towards the business. This is because most of the time CFOs knows what is the best of for this to the company based on the financial analysis. But if the BOD is actually biased toward majority shareholders, they will create what we call as conflict of interest, because BOD are trying to keep their interest, but at the same time CFO try to keep the best interest to the company. So this might put the financial pressures towards the business itself. CFO perhaps the external reporting should be done is okay, but then for the internal reporting it could be have a lot of argument there. Okay, the quality might be reduced. The transparency of the financial policies, etc., also might be questioned, and the accountability, the ethical issues might be rise later on and sooner. So this is something that have for me, I have analysis that what could be effect to what is actually reported by CFO. So I think that's all analysis from me. Thank you.